Breaking 2 words just destroyed a 75-year alliance. And what Israel did next could change your country's security forever. Late last night, a message arrived at the British Embassy in Tel Aviv. No phone call, no meeting. Just 2 words on an official cable. Game over. Within minutes, the British government went into emergency lockdown. And if you think this is just another political fight that will disappear by next week, you need to hear what happened in the next 24 hours, because this affects every Western nation watching right now. So if you want to stay ahead of this story, hit subscribe, because what I'm about to show you is still unfolding as we speak. Here's what happened. Last week, Britain officially recognized Palestine as a sovereign state. The world expected Israel to respond with diplomatic complaints, maybe some UN speeches. Instead, they skipped all of that and sent those 2 words, game over. Then they did something that sent shockwaves through every intelligence agency in the West. They shut down all counterterrorism intelligence sharing with the United Kingdom completely. No warning, no negotiation, just off. Let me be clear about what that means. The intelligence pipeline that tracks terrorist cells, monitors financing, and stops attacks before they happen. Israel just turned it off cold inside number 10 Downing Street. Chaos. Multiple sources say senior ministers started canceling public appearances within the hour. Emergency meetings were called. By midnight, the Prime Minister's office was in full crisis mode. Security advisors, MI6 officials, cabinet members, all scrambling to figure out what just happened and what happens next. One insider described the atmosphere as pure panic. Ministers are fighting behind closed doors. Some want Prime Minister Starmer to issue an immediate apology to save the relationship. Others are pushing him to double down, saying backing down now makes Britain look weak to the entire world. The Foreign Secretary reportedly spent 2 hours on emergency calls with counterparts across Europe trying to figure out who would support Britain if this gets worse. But here's where this gets darker. MI6 and GCHQ, Britain's intelligence centers, are now scrambling because without Israeli cooperation, the UK just lost its primary eyes and ears across the Middle East. Israel's intelligence network is legendary. Their access to terrorist networks, their real-time monitoring, their human sources. Britain relied on all of it. Now it's gone. An MI6 source speaking anonymously called it a national security nightmare, not political spin. Those were the actual words. National security nightmare. Like, because this isn't about hurt feelings. This is about British citizens potentially being at higher risk because the intelligence flow just stopped and Israel wasn't done. Their foreign ministry released a statement clearly meant to send a message to every Western capital watching. The United Kingdom has chosen sides. History will remember its decision. That single line did more damage than any 1,000-page protest could. Within hours, global markets reacted. The pound dropped. Middle East oil futures spiked. Investors started asking, did Britain just isolate itself? But wait, there's another layer. That could become the biggest political scandal in modern British history, according to leaked diplomatic sources. And we're talking multiple independent confirmations. Israel is preparing to release classified intelligence documents. These documents allegedly show secret meetings between senior Labour Party officials and Palestinian leaders. Meetings that happened before Britain's recognition was made public. Think about what that means. If those documents are real, Starmer's recognition of Palestine was an immoral stand. It was planned in advance. Prearranged political theater. Coordinated with Palestinian officials. Behind closed doors. The political fallout would be devastating. Conservative MPs are already using words like betrayal, deception, national security scandal. There are calls for a full parliamentary inquiry. Some are comparing this to the Iraq War controversy, calling it potentially the worst breach of public trust in decades. Even inside the Labour Party, whispers of a cabinet revolt are growing. One government insider said that during emergency briefings, Starmer looked visibly shaken. Quote, "You could see it in his face. He realized this isn't just foreign policy anymore. This is about political survival. If those Israeli documents get released and show secret coordination, Starmer's government could collapse within weeks." Meanwhile, the United States is furious. Anonymous State Department sources are leaking to American media. The message is clear. We warned them this would happen. There's even talk, still unofficial, but from multiple sources, that Washington might quietly freeze Britain out of key defense contracts, billions of pounds in trade, military technology sharing, joint operations, the special relationship between the US and UK, the alliance that held strong since World War II might be breaking in real time. But here's the twist nobody saw coming. Instead of isolating Britain, Israel's hardline response might have triggered the opposite. Spain announced they're fast-tracking their own Palestine recognition. Ireland's foreign minister defended Britain's decision and hinted they'll follow. Even France, which usually plays ISO as both sides had advisors leak that Paris will not be threatened. And perhaps most telling, the United Arab Emirates, a key Israeli ally, just announced a £5 billion green energy partnership with the United Kingdom right in the middle of this crisis. That wasn't coincidence. That was a calculated signal from the Arab world. They're betting on Britain's move. They're saying maybe it's time the West stops following the same old playbook. So, this isn't just Britain versus Israel anymore. We're watching the potential start of a massive shift in global alliances. And it all began with two words back in Britain. Public opinion is split right down the middle. Social media has turned into a war zone. Hashtags like Game Over UK and Stand with Star trending at the same time. Half the country calls him a traitor who destroyed Britain's security for political points. The other half calls to him a leader who finally gave Britain an independent foreign policy instead of just following Washington. But here's the number that should make every politician pay attention. A new poll conducted 48 hours after Israel's message shows 61% of UK voters believe Britain should not apologize. That number isn't dropping, it's climbing. Maybe the British public sees something the political class doesn't. Maybe they're tired of being America's second choice. Maybe they want their country to act like an independent power for once. So what does game over actually mean in real terms? Is this just a diplomatic freeze that will melt in a few months, or is something more dangerous building? Intelligence analysts are warning about possible cyber retaliation. British defense networks experience strange technical issues overnight. Networks briefly going down. Unusual access attempts. Odd data traffic patterns. Coincidence? Maybe. But after a message like game over, nothing looks like coincidence. Israel has cyber capabilities that match any nation on Earth. If they wanted to send a digital message, they could do it without leaving fingerprints. And here's what should keep world leaders awake tonight. This crisis isn't contained anymore. Every Western government is being forced to make a choice. Recognize Palestine and face Israeli retaliation, intelligence cutoffs, and American anger, or stay silent and watch your citizens lose faith in your moral authority while the Arab world questions if you can think for yourself. What Israel did with 2 words was send a message to every capital on earth. Loyalty has a price. Breaking ranks has consequences, but they might have made a critical mistake because right now, across Europe and the Middle East, governments are watching Britain stand alone under fire, and some are starting to think that maybe it's time to stop letting fear control foreign policy. This is poker played with oil, weapons, intelligence, and the lives of ordinary people who have no say. And Britain just went all in with a hand that could win everything or lose it all. So here's the real question. Did Keir Starmer just commit political suicide? Or did he accidentally become the spark that triggers a complete reshaping of global power? Because if Spain, Ireland, France, and others follow Britain, the entire Middle East power structure doesn't just shift, it collapses and rebuilds from scratch. And that 2-word message wasn't just sent to Britain. It was sent to every ally watching, every nation weighing their options, every leader wondering if they have the nerve or the recklessness to do what Britain just did. The next 72 hours are critical. Intelligence agencies are on high alert. Diplomatic channels are burning with emergency calls. Then, somewhere in Tel Aviv and London, officials are planning scenarios that range from quiet peace talks to something far more serious. What do you think happens next? Does Britain back down to save the alliance, or does this trigger a chain reaction that changes everything? Drop your prediction in the comments. I want to know where you think this goes. And if you want updates as this unfolds, because I promise you this is nowhere near finished, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. This is the kind of global shift that reshapes the world.